Always like to start it off with a little bit of applause. Warm it up. He's got the clapping going on his end as well. Welcome to the Sports U Podcast MLB edition. This is actually episode 2. The first episode was a little bit choppy, a little bit ticky, a little bit tacky. But of course, we got it all set up. And let's try it once again. We got Champ Andreas right here in the building. Well, not necessarily in the building. Across the way. Where are you at right now, my guy?
I'm in Minnesota, man.
So
the Midwest.
You're wearing all this Dodger gear, man, but I hear you talking about the Twins all the time. It's not really your choice, but are you low-key a Twins fan?
Well, full disclosure, I almost got season tickets this year, and for the next 2 years after that, just to go boo Carlos Correa 81 times a year. So,
love it. Well, definitely want to get right into it. So again, Sports U MLB edition, episode 2. Welcome to Sports U, where we read you the MLB news and you listen to our stupid ass opinions. So we definitely like to start it off. If you are familiar with our regular podcast that we do when we cover football, when we cover basketball, we like to start it off with the quick hits right here. So we're going to go ahead and get into the quick hits for, of course, the MLB. So the first one we got here is, of course, the Mets. Jacob deGrom still likely to opt out of his contract. As of right now, he is injured, so we'll start the season on the IR, the injured reserve list. Andrew, how do you feel about this so far and the possibility of him opting out? Do you see him leaving the Mets?
I don't. Honestly, since Cohen's taken over as owner, he's made it really apparent that he's not afraid to spend money. He wants to acquire big name stars. I mean, Scherzer's going to be the highest paid player in the league, not highest paid pitcher, like highest in the league, right? Went after, got Frankie Lindor. I just feel like opting out would probably be a smart decision if he can come back off IR real strong.
Yeah.
And prove that he is worth the money that Max Scherzer got for a little bit of a longer term than a couple seasons. So.
I think, that's really important, right? What's the market at that point? And to show them that you're serious and that, you're not bluffing, you really have to stick it to them. You know what I mean? So if they're not willing to do what he wants, and this guy's been, the best pitcher for about 3 years now? So
he's been the best pitcher for I don't know, 50 games across 3 seasons, sure. I think if he's going to opt out, right, he just needs to pitch 20 games this year. I think anything less, he can't opt out. He loses the leverage. He needs to be healthy if he wants to enter free agency, even if it means just signing an extension and staying long-term in New York.
Here, give me one moment. I actually do not have your audio on that one. I am a fool. Audio output capture. Excuse that. Oh. Paste reference. All right, so little bit of technical difficulties once again, but no worries on that. We'll go ahead and just get right into the next one, right? Jacob deGrom, likely to opt out. It's definitely smart. It's a business in the end, and hopefully,
I don't know if it's smart. It's only smart if he could pitch healthy for at least 2 quarters of the season.
Dude,
if we don't get him back until after the All-Star break, I think opting out, he's going to lose a lot of his leverage because he's given up what he's got now to somebody who might want to take a flyer on him. Because that's what it would be at that point. Like, sure, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball when he's on the mound, but how many games has he pitched in these last few years?
Well, I mean, you just seen Max Scherzer, and we can wrap it up with this one. Not do too well in the postseason, and it was due to, not really ramping it up during the regular season. And ultimately, I just think if they people will pay your price tag, and this guy is definitely younger than him. If he's getting paid that much, you see this new market. That's the way the cookie, I think, is going to crumble. On to the next one.
Real quick, do you think that would be like a Kevin Durant thing where KD got hurt and got signed anyways? Is that what you see for Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, look at what he's able to do in this last couple of years. I think that's very, very important, and anybody would be desperate for a starting rotation player. So ultimately, his market's going to be good no matter what, in my opinion, unless, like, even nowadays, Tommy John used to be the death note of people, but it's not. It's getting a lot better. So, hopefully everything will work out. Of course, we don't wish any injuries on him, even though he already started off with one. It's minor, of course, but let's get on to the next one here. José Ramírez and Aaron Judge not close to extensions. I read a couple articles where people are kind of predicting, saying that they'll get done on the eve of the, regular season. But again, I don't really see that happening. These two players are really highly sought after. I actually see the Cleveland Guardians now. The Guardians now will be possibly looking for a trade in that aspect. Ramirez, and they don't really have that much. Maybe they can boost their farm with that. And I mean, what else do they have, in my opinion?
Yeah, I think for me, the José Ramírez thing is a lot less likely as an extension. José Ramírez is the only person outside of the manager, Terry Francona, who's left from that World Series run when they lost in Game 7 to the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a couple years ago. For them to extend Jose, to me, it doesn't make sense. They're not going to be competitive in the division. They've already let go of a lot of their talent. Their starters are gone, right? Frankie's gone. It just doesn't make sense to extend him. The Judge one.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you.
I could see that happening. I think the Yankees want to contend. They're in a tough division, so they got to pay him and prove that they want to win. You know what I mean?
A little bit of foreshadowing in the future. We have the winners and losers of the offseason. But let me say this much. They didn't do too much in the offseason. And I can't see Aaron Judge in any other uniform in that aspect as well. He does have the injury bug. We're just speaking about that. And come on, man. I don't think he has any other market is going to pay him that much other than the Yankees, right? Do you see another market paying him the same amount?
No, I don't. I don't, because the Yankees are spenders, and with the new contract that the CBA worked out, the luxury tax got raised a little bit where you could spend more and not get penalized as hard. So it would make sense for an extension to come. And you think about who they have now. Sure, Judge has got the injury bug, and so does Stanton. But if their outfield is healthy, it's 140 bombs. Two of those guys are 105 of them.
I don't think anybody can argue with that. On to the next one here. No, and this is from Carlos Beltrán. I read this from The Athletic. Addresses Astros sign stealing scandal by saying no one stopped it. There was a report basically from the league to the Astros organization. The Astros organization never relayed that apparently to the players, according to Carlos Beltrán. And they were doing something that they felt was okay, and it was actually working. This is him, direct quote. He doesn't think, overall, they know now that they know they're doing something bad, but during it, they felt like they were just doing what everybody was doing a little bit better by putting it right next to the clubhouse. What is your first thoughts on this? I know you're close to this, wearing all of your Dodger gear.
Yeah, I think it's horseshit. There are other reports that have refuted that information. Other direct remembrances. AJ Hinch had this whole deal where he talked about it at length, and he said that he broke one of the monitors with a baseball bat. That's the fucking clubhouse manager telling you not to do it, right? I mean, he never went so far as to stop him. Sure, whatever. He just expressed his disgust. But at the end of the day, if you're not gonna manage your team and manage the wins and the losses and manage some of the good stuff and the bad stuff, I mean, it's a load of shit by Carlos Beltrán. But
I think it's so funny.
A lot of the blame goes to AJ.
I think it's so funny because he was saying all of this stuff and was giving a lot of information out. He was one of the people that was really cooperating with the league. And so the league was saying that they're not going to be doing any addressing of the players or putting them out there like that. He wasn't a player at that time. So they put him inside of that article or that report. And ultimately, he was the one who got the shit end of the stick, besides of the other ones that we, Altuve
and it's funny because that's one of the things that he said was he goes, well, MLB said they wouldn't name any players, yet I was the only player named.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not a player now, it wasn't. We didn't find out in 17 on the eve of the World Series. Yeah, we found out.
Funny.
Hey, over the winner.
He got what was due to him. He got fired. Let's just say that much at the end. Let's get on to the next one. Angels designate veteran outfielder Justin Upton for assignment. Drew, we grew up with this man. He's such a good player. I don't think anybody hates Justin Upton when it comes down to it. We watched him a lot being on the Diamondbacks for a lot of his career. Your first impressions on this?
I love it. I love it from a front office move. I love it from...
they have too much talent in the outfield.
I just love it from an attitude. The attitude of the Angels, it's good. They want to win now. They have the reigning MVP. They have 2 of the last 5 MVPs that won like 3 of them because Trout won back to back. I think that the way the Angels are spending money was a little. I mean, the Pujols deal almost didn't work out immediately, and toward the end of his contract, it was very obvious that it was not smart for their front office to give that many years to a guy who, you know, who was as old as he is, allegedly even older. The Upton deal, I think it made sense to put asses in seats, but I think everybody knew even when that deal was signed that he was getting a little bit too much. So just shed the money, wear it. That's what the organization's doing. But they're telling the fans, we got young guys. We want Brandon Marsh out there. We want Shohei out there when he's not DH.
Joe Adell.
We want Trout out there.
They want a lot of people out there. And hopefully Trout can continue to stay healthy this year and really be out there. Justin Upton, really good at defense, has a great arm, has a great bat, always a class act, and definitely contributed into the MLB for a long time, entertaining a lot of fans. And if you know the Upton twins, and you know you've been here for a little bit, and they've definitely put a lot of smiles onto our faces. So kind of sucks that he's being designated for assignment, but hey, hopefully he can be still a key contributor into a new team or just even a veteran presence.
I don't mind it, man. I mean, designation for assignment sounds like a bad thing because he got fired or whatever. Bad. But realistically, it's all guaranteed. It's not like football, right? It's not like that where if you get cut, your money's gone and it's dead cap. He's gonna get all that money. No one's gonna pick him up on waivers, so he'll sign with a team who needs one of his tools, and that team will pay him the minimum, and the Angels will pay the rest. He's gonna get his money. I'm not worried about Justin Upton. I think it sucks for him, but if I was an Angels fan, I'd be pretty fucking pumped.
Yeah, I think that you have the right to be pumped, and ultimately, let's see what this young core can do for these Angels. You know what I mean? They definitely need some people to come in and just play. Just let's get to this next step. Let's start this new era of Angels baseball. White Sox Lance Lynn to miss opening day with knee injury, will undergo surgery. So I do not know how long that will keep him out. I wish I did that research on this as well. But I think that's a big blow. You know, Lance Lynn, definitely somebody under the radar, more of a bigger type of name, I would say. But for this White Sox team that, I mean, you have your key guys. Lucas Giolito is definitely one of them. But losing Lance Lynn, who definitely can give you a lot of innings. He's definitely one that puts up, 200 innings, a season. Maybe not anymore year, because of the new way that baseball goes. But again, I definitely think that this is a hinder to the White Sox, who are, projected to do pretty well this year.
I don't think it's that bad, really. Who's in the Central? The Guardians.
We don't want to jump the gun right now. We're going to get into the division, predicting them right now.
I don't think this hurts them a whole lot. Personally, I feel like Lance Lynn is good for sure. I think he did well in St. Louis for a long time. For me, though, I think that him missing the beginning with a little bit of a knee thing, it's not even an arm thing. I'm not tripping, really. The White Sox are so fucking good. They're going to score 6 runs a game. So as long as your guy goes out there and allows 4, 5, the game's over. You know what I mean? Like, they're not a pitch first team. They got fucking boppers up and down that lineup, and I just don't. They'll miss them, but they're not going to lose without them.
Yeah, I think that you're correct in a lot of different ways. And when it comes to knee injuries, you can just get in there, clean that stuff up, and he can be right back on the field more faster than you know it. So wish him well, and hopefully he can come back and do a great recovery, because these White Sox, they look very exciting and look like a force to be reckoned with. They definitely had that going for them last year. Hopefully they can build on it. So, Drew, let's get into our first topic of the day, a longer topic, and one that will definitely set the stage for the rest of the season. So let's go ahead and get into our first topic here.
Yeah, we are going to put it on record.
Oh, go ahead.
I said just put it on the record.
Put it on the record.
I mean? Hold me accountable.
Well, man, I'm going to be honest with you. Making these predictions, it doesn't look like it's too hard. I would say there's half of these divisions already taken care of. The other half,
for sure. I only had trouble with 2 divisions.
Well, we'll see. So let's go ahead and get into the first one. I'll go ahead and bring it in here we're going to be predicting the division winners, of course. The MLB 2022 season is upon us after a 99-day lockout. Many changes have been made to each roster, and yet it seems like a lot of the teams are still in the same position that they were ending last year. We are here to discuss who we believe will win the 6 divisions of the MLB. Without further ado, here are Champ Andreas, and Rob's 2022 division winners for the MLB. Let's start with the AL East. Drew, I've been talking right now. Let's give you the floor. Who is your winner and why for the AL East?
That's tough, man. I think so. The 2 divisions that I had trouble predicting the winner, this was one of them. But I got to give the edge to Toronto. They have a whole country behind them. They got a lot of young studs, sons of Hall of Famers. These guys are just they're great
pedigree
top to bottom. I mean, I don't see really a hole in that roster that's huge. I think they need a little bit of help in their bullpen. But again, they're a team that's going to score so many runs, the bullpen's not really going to matter. You know what I mean? I think the big thing for me is that the Yankees got a little weaker. I think the Red Sox got a little bit weaker. And I think the Blue Jays they're just good, man. And the other thing that they have working for them that I don't think a lot of people are really focusing on is Toronto is Canada, right? So they have a whole different set of rules they have to adhere to. If players are not vaccinated going into Toronto, they cannot play. It doesn't matter. So the Aaron Judges, who we're not sure on his vaccination status, who's going to play 10 games in Toronto, if he's healthy, won't be fucking playing there. And there's a lot of other teams that are going to be traveling to Toronto who's got guys who are pretty firm on the my body, my choice, which, hey, it's all you, right? Who aren't going to be able to play. And everybody on that Blue Jays team is vaccinated. So they're going to be at full strength 80 fucking 1 times in their home stadium, playing strong, playing good, scoring runs. And the teams that are visiting, who are just here for 2 or 3 days, who gives a shit if I miss this game? It's going to work out in the Blue Jays' favor. I would not be surprised if the Blue Jays also ended up with the best home record of every team in this league, just for that one fact.
I didn't really even think about that. I think that's something that's definitely relevant inside the NBA. Never thought that it was going to be something in the MLB, especially when you consider Toronto. And look at this AL East, right? All these teams, they have the chance of owning this division in a way, right? But if you look at if you look on paper and you think about these players on this team and what they're able to do last year, they're just getting better, right? Every single year, Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero are just going into their prime. So in theory, they're supposed to be better this year. What were you saying?
Teoscar Hernandez, can't forget about him, man.
Oh yeah, no, of course. I was just starting with those guys because you mentioned pedigree. You mentioned,
sons of Hall of Famers.
Sons of Hall of Famers. Those are the first 2 that really come to mind. Now they definitely still have Hyun-Jin Ryu, who was going to be the Cy Young not too long ago. They have Ross Stripling. We're used to that, of course. He can just give you some innings. I think so. They lost. Wait, did they gain? They gained Kevin Gausman from the Giants, who posted up a wonderful year last year, and a full season of Jose Berrios, where they got him.
La máquina.
In that middle of the season to put in the full season. What is gonna say that these guys aren't on paper the best? And when you look at this whole division, it seems like you just need to lead by a little bit when it comes to everybody kind of stacks up really nice. This is going to be a very competitive division. A lot of the times, it's going to be a toss-up, but like you said, they're going to put up like 6+ runs. And let me tell you this much. Matt Chapman, being on the Athletics, was never, ever in the spotlight. And, these Blue Jays hardly are ever in the spotlight as well. But Matt Chapman is a beast, not only defensively, but with the bat. Now, he had a down year last year. But this year, with this type of team, and it seems like they're always putting in work. They're always trying to get better. And they have a lot of knowledge right there, too. So Matt Chapman, with this young core, man, I think that's just a bow on everything. This team is built to really take over this division. But you can, even in my opinion, and I picked the Red Sox last year, and they were super surprised because I really love Rafael Devers. I really love Xander Bogaerts. And those two guys are still there, And, if you can get a full season of Chris Sale, if you can get, Nathan Eovaldi to put in those innings, you can see a lot from this Red Sox team. But ultimately, and I know I'm wearing this Yankees hat, but, man, I got these Blue Jays. They just look so good on paper. They look so good within their starting rotation. I guess you could say the weakness, and I would have to agree with you on that. And I also hate agreeing with you because this is more of, not necessarily a debate show, but just overall, you want to have good conversation. And that's why I brought up the Red Sox, because I would love to talk about another team. And we'll get to the Yankees a little bit later. But again, I definitely see these Blue Jays really taking it by storm. On to the next one, AL Central.
I think the Yankees are the fourth best team in that division, for the record.
Oh yeah, I mean, nobody's the Orioles are definitely last, and the Rays, I mean, they were just in the World Series not too long ago, and they made a great run last year. So you can't really get away from that.
I think because the Yankees are fourth in that division, that's why they need to extend a guy like Aaron Judge. But he just needs to be healthy.
We'll see. We'll get into that a little bit more, because I definitely want to speak about them. Again, foreshadowing the biggest losers and biggest winners of the offseason. On to the AL Central. I'll start off with this one, even though I know you have a lot to say with the White Sox, so I won't take too long. You have the Guardians, you have the Royals, you have the Tigers, you have the Twins, and of course you have the White Sox. I think the second best team in this division is the Twins. They have a lot of good pieces, but hopefully they can cash in on those, because Byron Buxton is a really nice piece, and he could be an MVP, or he could just be on the bench getting hindered with injuries. So, but the first place team, and that's what we're here doing, predicting the division winners, is of course these White Sox. I don't think anybody can stack up even close. They can't sniff their farts on this fucking team. It's ridiculous. Luis Robert, Tim Anderson, Yohan Moncada. You're talking Jose Abreu. I remember when he was the best player on the team. But I feel like all those three players I just mentioned beforehand can be, take over that role. Because they have more of a five-tool type of asset. So, let me say this much. Lord Jesus, it's a fire. There's a fire right there in the White Sox. They're very good. They have a lot of tools. And you're talking Luis Giolito. We just mentioned Lance Lynn. And, of course, Dylan Cease at the front. And with Kopech at the end of the Mitchell Kopech. I think it's Kopech or Kopech. I forget how to say his name. At the end of the bullpen, I just think that fortifies it and kind of shows that this guy can close out these games. I know they have other pieces, but I definitely want to give you the floor on this, because you have a lot to say about these White Sox. But, again, they got a lot of firepower there.
I think they're probably the most complete team in the American League right now. A couple strong arms in the bullpen, a lot of youth and pop up and down the lineup. You got reliable pitching. Even with Lanson out, you got reliable pitching. I mean, Kopech, he's gonna be.
This guy's spitting facts.
You got to pay attention, but he could throw 102 fucking miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that this is the only team in this division that finishes above 500. That's why I don't think they're gonna miss Lance Lynn. They could fall asleep and win this division. It's the rest of the division is that bad. I mean, even with the Twins going out and acquiring a guy like Carlos Correa, he's one of 9. You know what I mean? The rest of the division didn't do a whole lot.
Personally, I definitely think that Carlos Correa, as much as we hate him as Dodger fans, he's a good leader, and he'll back you up. And it doesn't matter. He's a big spark in the postseason.
They got to make it to the postseason, and he's one of 9. And to speak to the Twins, they haven't won a postseason series their last 8 fucking series. Okay, the last 8 times they were in the postseason, shit the fucking bed. Didn't matter the manager, didn't matter the lineup, shit the fucking bed. It's Minnesota sports, man. I mean, it's the Vikings. They do the same shit. When was the last time the fucking Timberwolves were any fucking good? Minnesota sports, the curse, bro. And Carlos Correa is not going to change that. He's one of 9. There is no LeBron James of baseball. Think about Mike Trout.
But you can change it.
To the playoffs.
You can change it if you're more of a culture changer. Now, I'm not saying he's a culture changer. What I am trying to say, though, he has the attributes of being a good leader, a guy that's gonna step up. Out of all the people on those Astros teams, on the Astro team, he was the one that was most smug about it. You know why? Because they did it. They have to own up to it. And he didn't give a damn. And he was getting everybody's back on that shit, too. As much as we hate him and we hated the way he handled it, it's really impressive. What?
He's down for the boys. Like, I'm not arguing any of that. All I'm saying is that there is no LeBron James of baseball. Mike Trout is undisputed the best player of our generation. He's the best player in the league right now, even with Ohtani being the fucking dual threat that he is. I would take Mike Trout 1,000 out of 1,000 times. But even all that talent could not take the rest of that roster to the postseason, and that's exactly what you're going to see with Carlos Correa. I'm not knocking that he's good at baseball. He's great. He just got a fucking $100 million deal over 3 years for fucking Christ's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not going to take
He
that
might be a
roster
one and done
to the playoffs.
Any last words on these White Sox though?
Only team to finish above 500, winning the division in their sleep.
I like that.
It's easy.
Let's get into the AL West. You have the Angels, the Astros, the Athletics, the Mariners, and the Rangers, who took our beloved Corey Seager. Drew, I'm going to let you have the reins on this one. Who do you got for the AL West winning the division?
I have the Angels winning it.
Son of a bitch! We're not supposed to agree.
They're not the favorites.
That's crazy.
Fact, the Astros have a 77.6% chance of winning the division. The Angels are like 10%. I think it's the Angels, man. And I think I kind of alluded to it early. Them dropping Upton and having that faith and confidence in that core that they built, having a healthy Trout, having a reigning MVP. They just created that new DH rule for him where if he starts the game at pitcher and they lift him for a bullpen guy, he can still remain in the game as a batter.
Mm-hmm.
I just see the Angels winning a lot of games. A lot of games. And they've worked the Dodgers in the preseason pretty good. The Angels, man.
The damn preseason. You want to bring that up. Well, let me just say this much, right? I'm very upset. I was really hoping you'd pick the Astros, but maybe it's the Dodger blood in us that doesn't allow us to pick these Astros to win the division. For me, I do have the Angels winning the division. Now, this is why. Again, we were just talking about Carlos Correa, right? And I was kind of getting my insight into that. I'd like to drag that into this argument as well. That guy, I feel like, was a great cornerstone in that organization. And, I mean, Alex Bregman didn't look like Alex Bregman last year. And on top of it all, Jose Altuve had a bounce back year, and you still have Yordan Alvarez. You definitely have just a Class A organization when it comes to just the way that they run it analytically and the way that, they can build from the farm up. So the Astros are the Astros, right? But I definitely think that they lost a big leader in their clubhouse. I'm surprised that they didn't really reach out and try to bring him back in. But let me say this much. Let's get back to the Angels, right? Because I have them winning the division as well. They have the best hitter of this generation, Mike Trout, and the most talented player, basically of all time, in Shohei Ohtani, breaking Babe Ruth numbers and shit, throwing 100+ miles an hour and hitting balls over 400+ feet. And then, of course, they added Noah Syndergaard. Now, Noah has an injury bug, and I think that you could say that about a lot of the Angels' past, that it's due to either injuries or just their starting rotation isn't up to par. And I just believe that this guy, with all the baseball technology, with the way that I feel like he's just really well versed inside of baseball, knowing Syndergaard, he's very interactive. Overall, I think that he's going to have a really nice year, bounce back year, and show out for this Angel squad. So him being able to be part of that and boost, that's a better word, that starting rotation will be very, very underrated there. And on top of it all, we were speaking about how they dropped or DFA'd Justin Upton. That means that they believe, like we were saying, they believe inside of this young core in the outfield. Joe Odell. They have Brandon Marsh. Joe Maddon's still the head coach. What were you wanting to say?
Reed Detmers. He's going to be a pretty key piece going forward, I think. I also think that, you said it right, the health is an issue. But for me, I just feel like they got the right manager. You know what I mean? He's a World Series champion. He took a team that hadn't won a World Series in 108 years and completely changed the culture. And I think it takes time to do that. And I think we're seeing that in Los Angeles. Well, Anaheim, whatever you want to call it. I just have a lot of faith, man. I think that Carlos Correa the loss was important, but I don't think that AJ Hinch and Dusty Baker in the same league, and I felt like we were seeing the Astros regress even with the same roster because the leadership wasn't there. Dusty's great. Dusty's not an incredible manager. I think that roster wins because of the talent, not because of the coaching. And I feel like they're going to continue to regress, especially Springer's gone. It's huge in the postseason too.
Yeah.
Correa's gone. Um, Altuve's only getting older. He's been in the league a long time. Yeah, I just don't think that it's not the big bad Astros anymore. You know what I mean?
I can see that happening. And again, I think that losing a key piece like that, where he's an outspoken leader, is a big deal. But I think that's a wrap onto the AL East. Let's start going into the NL. So we have to start with the NL Central. We have the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Cubs, the Pirates, and the Reds. For me, I'll go ahead and start off on this one since you started the last one. I got the Brewers. You're talking about, and I think that this is a big fact in a lot of different teams that showed success in the past, that if you have a good starting rotation with a 1-2-3 punch at the top, you're going to see some great results. Corbin Burns won a Cy Young, 2.43 ERA. You have Brandon Woodruff and, of course, Freddie Peralta, both sub-3 ERAs as well. I think that those guys can really win you a lot of games and at least keep you in them. And let me say this much. They have a offensive rotation that it felt like they just underperformed. And when you're underperforming, you're able to rely on other parts. I think Drew can even speak towards this, is that as Dodgers, when we had a good pitcher on there, we didn't have the same type of urgency as we had when we had, our 4 or 5 pitchers on the board. We would be able to score a lot more runs with those guys rather than our 1-2-3 hitters. Maybe it's because they have a 1-2-3 guy on the other side of the on the mound, but ultimately there's just not that much urgency as a rotation, or as a lineup. So I expect Christian Yelich to have a bounce back year. I expect Willy Adames to compete. To repeat what he did last year and really continue to put that into there. They also have that star power in Josh Hader and Devin Williams in the bullpen. That's a really big key inside of this Brewers organization, is that they really like to focus on that bullpen. It's tough, but I think that if they can keep them with less energy, and they can make a really big push inside of that postseason. So hopefully they can win this division for me. And I think another thing, we were just speaking about Joe Madden being a head coach or being the manager. This guy, they still have Craig Counsell. This man can call a game and do it very well. So what are your opinions on this division, Drew?
Yeah, I don't disagree with the stuff you're saying about the Brewers, but I do disagree with your division winner.
Ooh.
I'm excited that we disagree. I think it's the Cardinals. Huge deal for me. It's consistency, right? And there hasn't been consistency in the Central since 2016, 2017. Since 2016-2017, when the Cubs won back-to-back division titles, we have not had the same team win the division there. It's been a different team every year. And I think that we got an opportunity to see what grit and blue-collar baseball looks like the back end of last season when the Cardinals went on a 17-game heater.
17
and I think
games.
that they got a little bit better.
Dirty.
You know what I mean? They got a little bit better with their rotation. They acquired they got Steven Matz. He's going to be playing with Jack Flaherty and Adam
together.
Wainwright. Adam Wainwright had like a turn back the clock year, and I think he's going to have another great year, especially with Yachty going out. This is Yachty's last year. Having a full-time DH, I think Pujols is really going to just enjoy like the nuance of being back in St. Louis.
It's about that locker room, right? Is bringing him in Uncle Al. That's what we called him when he was, or Theo Albert.
Theo Albert, yeah. So Theo Albert's going to retire alongside Yachty. This is their last year, and I feel like they're going to go out swan song type season. You know what I mean? Like, don't be surprised if Pujols hits 25 homers, gets over 700. Don't be surprised if Adam Wainwright's top 5 in Cy Young.
Wait.
And
he
don't
hates
be surprised.
he hates the shift, and the shift is eliminated. Maybe Uncle Al has some more stuff in him.
Not until next year.
Oh, not until next year. I thought it was eliminated this year.
Right, correct. So the Players Association, the CBA says that MLB has the power to change any rule with a 45-day notice starting in 2023. So they're going to practice this shit that they want to do, like larger bases, pitch clock, shit like that. They're practicing that in the minors this year, but those changes won't hit the major leagues until next year if they're successful. So, yeah, I mean, it's the last year of seeing chess game baseball with bullpen management and player usage and all that turn into a 3D chess game with the shift and shit. It's going to go back to regular old school shit, but Yeah, I think it's the Cardinals, man, and I don't think it's gonna. It wouldn't surprise you if the Brewers won. I think this is gonna be a dogfight to the end. I think September is really gonna matter for this division, not the way it would for other divisions that we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the one for me that it was easy for me to pick the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals. I like the way they play. They have a history of success. I don't like the Brewers to repeat, but it's gonna be tight.
If I could say just one more thing, that outfield is so underrated. I feel like they're really good defensively.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can say that part. They see the speed. They see the muscles on these guys too. You know, Josh Hader looks like a fucking brick, an inflatable doll. It feels like, dude. You just boom. You know what I mean? Like that boy's thick.
I'm gonna call him Darth Vader, dude.
Darth
that guy's
Vader.
gonna go out there and kill it, bro.
Hey, man, but I really like that outfield, but I definitely think that, the Brewers have some nice pieces in the outfield as well. Hopefully they can bounce back. And I remember at one point, especially down the stretch in his MVP year at least, Christian Yelich was winning these guys games.
But he hasn't been. It's the same as Cody Bellinger. He hasn't been the MVP since he was the MVP.
We'll see. They're both All-Stars next year. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's true. I think the player to watch in Milwaukee is McCutchen, really.
Stop it. I said that with the Phillies, and then bro fucked up his knee running the bases.
Change the scenery,
so
and now
tough.
now he could be the full-time DH.
I didn't really think about that. That's a good one. I know that's a new rule change that I have to get used to. On to the next one here, though. We have the NL West. We saved that for last. I think we both have the same.
We skipped the East. Skipped the NL East.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Okay,
yep.
So let's get into the East real quick. Let's try to make both of these pretty quick because we actually are running a little bit low on time.
Sure, you go first because I bet we're far apart on this one too.
Really? I had the Braves. I had the Phillies kind of being a close second. I don't really think the Mets. I think they're all flash. No fire to them. The Phillies, man, they really bolstered their lineup. But ultimately, man, I can't go up against a Braves team that literally just won the World Series. They lost, one guy? One guy? He's a great guy. He's a great guy. And honestly, he's great in the locker room. I find that to be a big thing when it comes to teams. The locker room is very important. And we need a guy that's going to bump us up or challenge us whenever we're in a tough or in a rut. And that comes in a 162-game season. They lost their best player in Ronald Acuna. And guess what? They're able to overcome that. So Ronald Acuna will be back. The lineup still features Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, Eddie Rosario, and of course, to replace Freddie Freeman, they added Matt Olson. They also locked him up for a long contract after giving up a lot of prospects. What were you saying?
I said some fucking duster, Matt Olson.
Oh, quiet you. Another athletics guy who doesn't get enough praise because he plays for the fucking Athletics. But no, the return of Mike Soroka will be definitely a big one. He joins, of course, Max Fried, Ian Anderson, Charlie Morton, and, of course, the other pitcher, Yanoa. I think they definitely have a nice lineup, rotation. We spoke about that and how important it is with the previous teams and how if you have the 1-2-3 punch or a nice solid 1 through 5, you could do a lot with that. So again, they won a World Series last year. They replaced a thing that they lost, and they didn't even lose it. They let it go. They never really went after Freddie Freeman. He was saying that in a couple of reports. And also, they took our beloved Kenley Jansen, love and hate him, whatever you want to say. That guy is a beast. Dodgers franchise record holder for saves, and they joined Will Smith, Tyler Matzik, and AJ Minter in that bullpen. So they got a tough bullpen. They got a tough rotation, and they got a tough lineup. I don't know who the fuck you're picking, but I'd love to hear about it. Go ahead and give it to me.
I expected you to be on the Phillies hype train because you were all last season.
I was a year too late. I was a year early on the Bryce Harper winning MVP, and I was really on the Phillies hype train last year. And fuck them, dude.
You were. I agree with you. I expected you to pick the Phillies. I think the Mets are shit still. I think it's not just about deGrom being hurt, but Scherzer's hurt too. And Frank Lindor. I mean, that guy fucking stank it up last season. And if he's anything like the big name players who are starting to stink it up now, like Cody Bellinger, like Christian Yelich, it's not going to get any any prettier anytime soon. I am 100% on the Braves hype train. It's a no-brainer for me. Guy like Kenley Jansen goes from throwing to a guy named Will Smith to throwing with a guy named Will Smith, so that's got to be pretty cool, right? But no, I think it's the Braves division to lose.
Just wait until he gets slapped by Will Smith.
Yeah, I know shit, right? Hey, you keep the Dodgers name out your fucking mouth.
A little bit of a delay, but I got the point across, dog. Yeah, no, I think we both agree on this one. But again, I had to bring in those other ones. Nationals out the way. Mets, I just don't. They're all flash. They don't got nothing behind them. Hopefully, I eat my words. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, I definitely think that these Braves, come on, man, they just won the World Series, and they got the same type of players. But let's get on to the next one. We'll make this one quick. For me, I got the Dodgers. For the NL West, you have the Diamondbacks, the Dodgers, the Giants, the Padres, the Rockies. Padres, all flash, no fire, once again. Tatis can't stay on the field. I think that's a big deal, especially with the way that, their locker room is. Manny Machado and him get in arguments already. When you think about the Dodgers, look at this rotation. Look at this. I think that's the only question that they have about him. Look at the lineup, though. And you're talking MVPs everywhere. And then on top of it all, they went to go out and get Craig Kimbrell, who I feel like has been, and we had Kenley, it has been the literal most consistent closer throughout, I think, this past decade.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, the Dodgers lose the closer. The Dodgers lose a closer with 300 career saves, and they go out and acquire a closer with 450 of them.
Yeah, and then one more thing, just so I can wrap it up for at least me. I believe Rios and I believe Bellinger will have a nice season. I was considering the shift, but I guess that's still going to be in place. I thought it was going to be without the shift, so both of those guys were going to have better seasons. But everybody's talking about Bellinger, and we'll get onto that one a little bit later. But I definitely think that he did well in the postseason. It's just a fucking spring training. If we want to get on people for having terrible spring trainings, get on who's the guy that has a 6+ ERA? I think it's Jacob deGrom, actually, right? Or who was it?
The I don't know pitcher wise, but I know Hot Stove did an interview with Mookie early in the spring, and he said that he watched David Ortiz get one base hit for the whole fucking spring.
Yeah.
And then went and hit 330 that same season.
So
I think Bellinger said himself that he feels better than he has in a long time, and that the results might not be there, but he feels good, and that's a huge deal. He feels good.
One last thing, though, I do want to add to my prediction of why the Dodgers would win and why the Giants aren't necessarily that far behind, or why I'm not really even trying to consider them. A lot of their pieces are older. They're still pieces from their last championship, and ultimately, those guys, I just feel like and you could have probably said this about them last year as well, that they were not necessarily going to produce the same type of way that they are this time. So they lost Kevin Gausman, and then, of course, they lost their main, and we're just talking about how important Carlos Correa is. How important is losing Buster Posey? Now, they replaced him with Joey Bart, but he's gone. Maybe he can join him in a coaching role. That's what he was kind of doing last year, it felt like. But your opinions on this?
I think it's a big deal. Buster Posey is the heart and soul of the entire fucking organization. I mean, he's an MVP. There's not a whole lot of MVP catchers. He's one of them. He's a fucking Hall of Famer. I think it's a big deal. I think that the Giants will probably come in second. I don't think the Padres are gonna, even though the Padres just acquired a pretty good starter from Oakland. Sean Manure, we'll call him. He's gonna be shit down there. That whole team's gonna be shit down there.
Go on, bro. That guy's actually good.
I had to do it. That team is fucking.
Look at that. Hey, on paper, that rotation looks nice.
Yeah, on paper, they were supposed to win the division last year, and they barely finished above 500. I think that the Dodgers have proved that they're the big boys. The Giants have proved that they know how to win as well. They have more championships in the last 10 years than any other team in the league, right? 15 now. Now it's a little older, but still, it's the Dodgers division first. I think the Giants did enough to contend. Yes, they lost Buster Posey, but I think a signing like Jock Peterson's really It's a really big deal. I know it's a 1-year deal. I know it's probably me being a homer because I do love me some Jock Peterson. But the guy's got a massive fucking dong. He's wearing pearl necklaces in the World Series. He's got back-to-back rings, and he's gonna be a leader in the clubhouse because he knows how to win. You know, he knows what Brandon Belt went through. He knows what Brandon Crawford's went through. He knows how to talk to these younger guys with these older guys and say, this is what a winning attitude is. I think they're going to contend. I don't think they win. I think they win a wild card. But yeah, I think it's a Dodgers division for sure. And losing Buster's important. And that's going to be the difference maker as to why they're coming second division.
Hold on, it's so funny because you go, I think it's a Dodgers division for sure, and you like look down for a second and literally just shows your Dodgers like symbol all hard, like, oh, this guy's not a homer at all. But no, I think that any right person can agree with that though. I think you're right. You know,
and I think a homer would maybe not want to give the Giants as much credit as they got.
No,
I mean, I fucking hate the Giants, but they're good.
Losing Kevin Gausman is a big deal for them. So we were just speaking about how it's good for the Blue Jays. Exactly. But let's get on to our next topic here. We already know what we are trying to do. We definitely want to predict certain things that are coming into this new year. So thinking about what already happened, though, in the offseason, we want to talk about the biggest winners and losers of the offseason. So, Drew, let's start off with you. I think you've seen mine already. Oh, actually, let me bring it in here. Again, there were so many changes in the MLB and their teams this offseason. Some teams were in the running for players and have dropped the ball, such as the Yankees, while others picked up that ball and ran with it to the finish line, making big splashes in the free agency of 2021-2022. Basically, there are winners and there are losers. So, Drew, let's start off with you. Who is your winner of the offseason?
John Fisher.
Expand.
The owner of the Oakland Athletics, John Fisher. He's the biggest winner. He managed to find a way to get his annual salary for the entire fucking team to be less than Max Scherzer. If you got a guy who's only spending $30 million, getting all that revenue, he is the biggest winner this offseason. That motherfucker is about to be rich as shit.
I mean, hey, I like it. I was just talking with my buddies about that one, the owners, because we're talking about Colin Kaepernick and how if he was brought onto a new team, it's going to hit their pockets because they're going to lose ticket sales most likely. That's what happened in the first place. And hey,
for sure.
Do they want to take on that? And as you can see, some owners are going really far as to not letting this type of stuff happen. My biggest winner would be for the Braves. They lost Freddie, yet they added Olsen, a top-tier closer in Jansen as well, and to an already bolstered bullpen. They lost 4 prospects, but when they got Olsen, they got him into a long-term deal. So being able to not only get him and lose that much, but also keep him in a longer sense, I feel like that's a really big thing. When you are a World Series champion, it's easy to fall down. It's easy to be passive. It's not easy to be proactive, and they're actually doing that. So I really think that, for them, They were able to win that without their best player. Their best player is going to come back about halfway through the season, maybe a little bit earlier than that. But come on, you have to love the Braves being able to be proactive, and then of course, wanting to win another one after winning it all.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out that there hasn't been a repeat World Series winner since the Yankees did it a long fucking time ago, and going out and making the moves they did really show the intent to win. They get out there and they get a closer who has pitched in the playoffs and pitched well. Some would argue he wouldn't. I would argue he does. They go out there and they get a guy in Matt Olson who's a fucking stud, who's younger than Freeman, who lives in Atlanta and took a nice hometown discount. Their core is locked up for less money than 2 players on the. Their 6 best players are locked up for less money than the Mets' 2 best players.
Yeah,
they play in the same division.
You got to call that a dub. And let's get on to our losers, though.
I think we have to give an honorable mention to the Rangers getting they probably had the best middle infield in baseball.
Seager. They have the best middle infield possibly in baseball, and they have them locked up for long term. Let's just hope that both of them, because they both have injury bugs as well, that they can stay healthy throughout their whole entire contract. Drew, who is your loser?
Hey, listen.
I clicked that a little too early earlier.
I don't know. The city of Oakland, they're a pretty big loser. I don't
Double
think it's
dipping,
cool.
I see.
What happened?
You got your hands in both. You got your hands in the same cookie jar right there. Double dipping, eh?
How would you feel, man? How would you feel if there is no cap, no real penalty to spending money, right? I mean, okay, the owners got to pay a luxury tax, but there's nothing in the rule book that says he can't go out there and spend $400 million.
But
literally nothing that's stopping them.
But they've continued to show that they continue to do this, and they'll be competing within a couple of years. And I feel like they will be able to do that once again. If I'm an Oakland fan, I'm used to this fucking shit, right?
No, if you're a Rays fan, you're used to this fucking shit. And the Rays find ways to get back to the playoffs. Oakland doesn't do that. The city of Oakland, I feel bad for them as a whole. They fucking lose the Raiders. Their owner goes out and decides he wants to be the biggest fucking penny pitcher on the planet. I mean, their opening day fucking salaries $28 fucking million. Are you shitting me? I can fucking
only
get the
28 million. That's crazy.
That's nothing.
That's nothing.
It's fucking nothing.
Let me get on to my loser here. Unless did you have something to say?
No, I don't really feel like there's outside of like the memes and the lulls. People would say that the Yankees are losers. I don't think so. I think they were still in on trades when they missed out on the big names.
How are you gonna fuck me over like that? Even though I foreshadowed it the whole damn episode. My loser,
losers.
huh?
Because they're not losers.
They are losers.
They missed out on
let me get on with mine then. You just questioned me.
Go ahead.
Now I'm gonna get on this shit.
Go ahead.
You're the fucking Yankees. You're telling me if the Dodgers lost, the Dodgers already lost Corey, right? And you're just going to let them just be inactive throughout the whole offseason? Not do anything? I know we have a great farm system, but the Yankees can't say that. Now, so you look at these guys, they're paying all these people the same type of money. They got Garrett Cole, they got, Giancarlo Stanton. They have so many people on this type of salary, and they're not going to want to go make moves like that. I mean, what? They get onto they're able to sign Anthony Rizzo back, and that's the best thing that they can do, right? They got Josh Donaldson, who's old, but they already had Gio Urshela. Urshela. I hope I said that right. And then they also send away their longtime catcher, Gary Sanchez. We were actually talking about him in one segment before. So maybe that's an addition by subtraction, right?
Get fucking rid of that piece of shit. He's terrible. Sanchez is fucking terrible. You're gonna tell me that the Yankees are losers when they have a $241 fucking million payroll this year?
My only thing, if you're already that far deep into that, then why stop? Why stop? My biggest thing though is that you're the fucking Yankees. Get something done. Give hope to these fans once again. Show that you're being aggressive. That's your guys' style. That's your guys' culture. Why stop now? And then look at everybody else is just getting better. Why couldn't you land Kevin Gausman? Why did your in-division rival stop that from happening? This is ridiculous. They didn't do shit. They got some more old-ass talent, once again, washed-up people, and guess what? They're not going to perform. They're going to be the fourth, as you said from your words, the fourth best team in that division. You're the fucking Yankees.
They're handcuffed. There's two good free agents. Maybe three good free agents.
They couldn't land Semien?
No.
They didn't even land Story.
They should have went for Story really that late in the game. I just don't feel like there was a whole lot of talent out there for the Yankees to make their team better. They're already paying a lot. You know what I mean? Like there's only so much you can do when your payroll is that high, number one. And number two, they're the fourth best team in that division, but they go to if they're in the AL West, they win that division. If they're in the AL Central, they win that division. If they're in the NL Central, they win that division.
Get some help.
Being the fourth best team in that division is a bad thing for sure.
Listen to Michael Jordan, and let me show you this much. These Yankees, losers of the offseason. Let's get into our next topic here. One that we definitely want to keep doing every single show. Me and my brother, we are located in the IE or from the Inland Empire and are big time, long time Dodger fans. We bleed blue. Let's just face it. Yet we have different opinions on the same fucking team all the time. Calling each other up, yelling at each other, calling each other bitches and dick suckers and shit, cocksucker. Overall, this segment will be at the end of every episode so that we can cover the team each week and have updates of what we see from each game. Drew, this segment is called It's Time for Dodger Baseball.
Get that on the soundboard.
We definitely have to get that on the soundboard. I need to update
100%.
this shit in a lot of different ways.
Get that motherfucker on the soundboard.
One thing at a time. You got to show off your NFT next time we get it on. But
oh shit,
let's go ahead and get through these questions really quick. We're running at about 55 minutes, but I've been enjoying this episode. I hope you have been too, and the audience, of course. Hopefully they learned one thing or another. The first question, and one that we continue to go back and forth on, is of course Gavin Lux. So for you, there's been a lot on him. He hasn't really gotten starting time. Once he has the ability to get it, he hasn't been able to hold that position. And that's a fact. Let's just say that much, right? But that's not necessarily something to say that's on just him. We're a deep fucking team. And that's just what happens when you are that luxurious. Now let's get on to the first question. What is your opinion of Gavin Lux after losing Corey Seager?
I want him to start at second every day. I want Muncy to play every day. I want Turner to play every day. I want Trey to play every day. I want Freddie to play every day. I don't know where he fits in that infield. I think that the way
we have viewed, we have a DH now.
We do. I think that the way that he is viewed as from a talent perspective, something that you and I have argued about in the past is why did we let go of Verdugo when we could have got rid of Lux? And I told you, Angie Friedman said Lux is off the table. So why did Verdugo go out there and ball out and Lux shits the bed? That's the way that you would say it. I think that I have so much trust in Andrew Friedman and the team that he has in that front office. He's deserved it. He does deserve it because of what he's done, because of the continued success, because of how he is able to recover from the McCourt era that shambled the Coletti era when he took the team and the Guggenheim project fucking started to own the Dodgers. Kept Ned Coletti, which I'm still fucking shocked he's part of that front office, but whatever. It's fun to watch on Sportsnet. I think that if Friedman sees something, man, I mean, you have to risk, because Friedman's tenure with the Dodgers is not the only success he's had. He was able to take the Rays to the World Series on a small market budget. It's a big deal. Friedman is a big fucking deal. You know who's running the Braves front office? The team that you said is the biggest offseason winner? Alex Anthopoulos, who learned and trained under Andrew Friedman. When Andrew Friedman says Gavin Lux can ball, Gavin Lux can fucking ball. We just got to find the playing time. That's it. I want him in the starting lineup.
One thing that I would have to say is you can't be always right. And I'm not saying that Gavin Lux is no hope. My whole thing on Gavin Lux, and it's been like this since the beginning, and we treasured him like he was a superstar. I personally, and you kind of gave us a hint already, that I am a big fan of Alex Verdugo. Didn't really see the only reason why I didn't have a problem with that was because our outfield was already overloaded. So getting rid of him wasn't it helped out us more than getting rid of Lux, right? But I was more of on a talent standpoint, and we can see that we're just interchanging a lot of different parts. That, in my opinion, I would have kept Dougie more than I would have kept Lux because Dougie was already proven that, hey, I can do this, I can do in the postseason, and it works out. This man, Lux has not been able to have that opportunity. And let me say this much. Wait, I'm almost done. That last part of the postseason last year, he came in, he sparked the club. Him and Bellinger were the only productive pieces on the offensive side in the postseason at the end when we were eventually eliminated. I would have to say, though, that was the best part that I would have to see and say about Lux. Anytime before that, I was always like, shit, we could have had Dougie. Shit, we could have had Dougie. Now, I feel a lot better about it. I'm excited for this upcoming season. There is nobody in his way other than Chris Taylor. But
oh, dude, you can't knock Chris Taylor, though.
Oh no, I'm saying like he's in his way, and you can even put Chris Taylor in the outfield too. So that's not really necessarily a problem. My whole thing is though, Lux. He never showed me that he can be an amazing superstar. He performed in the postseason though, and it wasn't like he was hitting bombs. but he was still in bases. He erred a lot throughout the regular season. He showed out in the defensive side on that side in the postseason as well. It looks like he has a lot of upside, and maybe Andrew Friedman hasn't yet folded on his cards just yet with this pickup, or
he's onto something
with his prospect.
I think that Gavin Lux is fucking good. I mean, I'm not gonna shit on Verdugo, man. I love me for some Verdugo too. He's great. But if you gave me the choice, I'd pick Lux in that situation 10 times out of 10 just because of the crowded outfield. I think now losing Dougie hurts a little bit more because Pollock's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was necessary.
Chris Taylor is going to flex. You know, he'll play some infield when guys are hurt. He'll play the outfield when they're not. You're not going to pay him $14 million to not start him. That's what he's getting, I think, this year. So, yeah, I mean, I think I would prefer Chris Taylor over Verdugo just because of work ethic standpoint, you know, and a flexibility in the positioning standpoint. And he does have that spark. I mean, he hit a leadoff homer, game 1 of the World Series in 2017.
Let's not hold on to that now. But he definitely puts out when it counts the most. But let's get on to the next one here.
I think it's just a burden of riches, right?
Luxury.
We have high expectations, but on any other team, I think Lux is a starter.
No, it's not that I don't. It's not that I'm upset about the high expectations. I'm upset that everybody's already calling him a superstar or trying to give him that title when he hasn't shown me that enough. So for me, that's how I feel about it. But we should definitely get on to the next one. We're running pretty long on time. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you had something to say.
I do, yeah. So for those of you who are baseball fans and try to watch as much baseball as you can, I'm one of them. You should look into MLB PAA membership. The link should be in the description below. What it is it helps.
You want to share it on your screen?
Yeah, go ahead, share it. Oh boy, close.
No worries. I'll go ahead and put it on you for a little bit.
It should be working.
So
yeah, it should be working.
So that's just me though. My biggest whole thing on this stuff on this topic is that they're giving him this title already, and I feel like it hasn't been deserved just yet. Do you have it up already? Share that screen.
It's been up. It's been up.
Oh, I have you there. It's not showing.
It's a difference.
This one right here. Stream. My apologies.
It's fine. So this is the let me get it a little bit bigger. This is the MLB Players Alumni Association. Jim Tomei is the president. He just got inducted to be the president. This is not something that a lot of people know about. You can spend $25 for the year. And what this does for you is it gives you 50% off of your MLB.TV subscription. So the MLB.TV package this year is $140. Doing this, it's $90 for all of it. So you save $50, number one. But you also get a ton of other discounts, like 10% off your player jerseys. Huge one here, 40% off of Oakley's. 20% off of Rawlings products, so your fucking gloves, your fucking pants, all that kind of shit. It's huge. It's real huge. I'm a member. That's how I get it every year. There's nothing more refreshing than buying my MLB.TV subscription. I am a Dodger fan in the Midwest, so blackout restrictions aren't a thing for me. I know that Sportsnet's got a stranglehold in the LA area, but if you're a fan of a team that you don't live near, this is the way to go. Instead of spending $140 up front, you could just do this. Get yourself a whole other litany of discounts, and get you some baseball in your life, man. Baseball's the fucking best thing in the world.
I like that. I really think that was really nice of you. And if I didn't already steal yours, I'd be doing that as well. I'd be doing that as well.
Yeah, I know. By the way, password works again, boy.
Let's get it. The game's on. I'm so excited for this fucking new season, especially now that we made predictions, baby. But let's get on to the next Dodger question. Man, we'll just wrap it up with these Dodger questions, and we'll not get into it. I have basically a power rankings of blue chip and red chip teams. We'll get into that in the next episode and start it off on that one. But let's get on to this next one here. Dodgers lost Kenley Jansen, but added Craig Kimbrell. My first thoughts on this is, again, this guy's been consistent for pretty much the last decade. A little bit of injury, I guess, here and there, but, Kenley even had that as well. even just loss of production. So I think for me, you just see a high class organization lose it and then gain somewhere else. Now we luckily had some production and we're able to have somebody to trade for him, but ultimately that's what a high class organization does, and we're able to do that, and very excited about what this guy will be able to do. I will definitely think though that this guy's kind of a character. Craig Kimbrell, you know, with the way his stance is, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be amazing to have that at the Dodger Stadium. They're going to be able to market and sell the shit out of him. Your thoughts? I see you. I see you. I'm chuckling, dog.
See this? This 90-degree angle? See that? That's because they made the right move. Oh,
the right move? Oh, okay. Okay. You know what? Maybe they can like add that and make it kind of like the LA. You know, the L and the A with this or something.
A little bit.
I don't know.
A little bit. I think you know, on paper you think that, oh, he's fucking great, 400 some odd career saves. Oh, he's a champion. He's this, he's that, which all that is accurate. But you spend any time on Reddit, you want to learn real fast. That motherfucker's name is Cardiac Kimbrell. All right. If it's a non-save situation, his ERA is gonna fucking balloon. Save situation, you know, there's gonna be some guys on base. It might be tough to watch. He's gonna save some fucking games. Dodgers are gonna win a lot, but don't expect him to be any different than Jansen's wild ride that we've been experiencing these last couple of years. There's nobody like Mariano Rivera who's gonna come in and get 3 outs, boom, 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 with a lights out pitch. He's good. He's got experience. He's got ice in the veins. He's just.
They both have the same type of style, though, right? They have one pitch, and they just go to that fucking pitch, and then they try to throw you off with another one. And kind of like the Mariano Rivera style. You know what's going to come? Yeah, can you fucking hit it?
That's the thing is, Mo perfected it. I mean, over 600 career saves. That's almost an untouchable record. You know what I mean? I think, especially with the way that games are managed now, where closers sometimes don't even view as closers. I mean, Hader's the closer in Milwaukee, and he's not always in there in a safe situation. He's a put the fire out kind of guy. I think that's a record that will stand the test of time. I think that Kimbrell's good. I think he adds a lot of tenacity and experience to the bullpen, but don't expect it to be smooth. That's a warning.
I would have to agree with that. I understand, and I remember that part where if it's not a safe situation, he doesn't necessarily, and we were talking about that a little bit earlier about urgency. Will they have it? The Dodgers have been having a lot of trouble with just Cody Bellinger's production. Should the Dodgers send this guy to the minors? I know that you, in the past, wanted to send this man to the minors. What is your opinion as of right now?
For now, no, I don't think that's necessary. If he says he feels really good, I watched the at-bats in the Angels games. He's striking out less than he was early in the spring. He's got a pretty good BABIP. If he puts the ball in play, it's usually going to find some grass. And defensively, he's really fucking good.
Yeah, he's so nice.
With the way the Dodgers are going to score runs, the only way I see him hitting the minors, if they do send them to get tuned up, is if we have pitching woes early on, injuries, stuff like that, where we don't have the luxury of outscoring our opponents very often, right?
Or we need that extra spot on the roster.
Speaking of, what do you think's going to happen with old Bauer?
I mean, innocent until proven guilty, right? So it seems like
it's all over, right? They haven't indicted him. There's no charges at any price. It's kind of like it's only one woman, but it's kind of like Deshaun Watson. If it was going to happen, it would have happened already. So he's free and clear.
My whole thing is the Dodger locker room already said what they said. Locker rooms are very important. He's getting paid a lot, and it feels like, it's kind of a lose-lose situation. And with sports, at least for the NFL, your talent always reigns supreme. In this aspect, I just don't know, especially when your locker room is so just one-sided on it. And this man, he has a different type of attitude to where you can kind of feel that maybe those accusations can have some truth to it. And whether or not he actually did it without consent or with consent, because it sounds like he's actually doing it, but it was the consensual part that's the biggest problem.
The law says that it was consent. Well, the lawyer, what came out in court, the judge said what he did was despicable, but it was consensual. There are going to be no legal repercussions, ramifications.
But that's the whole thing, right? Do you want this type of guy where you know? Well, listen to that part, right? Do you want this type of guy where you know he's a fucking freak in the bed?
That's the question. Wanting
to beat up women, or not beat them up, but be physical with them. I don't know what the right verbiage is, but these guys already said it's already been spoken. We do not want him in the clubhouse. As the Dodgers organization, this is just a lost situation. And overall, we're a high-class organization to where we can handle it very well. I think, PR-wise, we'll handle it very well. Ultimately, I don't want to hinder in our locker room. And if he's going to be that, then fuck him. We can do it without him. Look at this. We don't need extra. Look at our team. So for him to be there, it would be it for me. And I would say right now, if we brought him back, I feel like that's more of a desperate move. And I don't think we need a championship that bad. I don't think that we need to rub our players that bad. And I don't think that, we want our locker room to be disrupted by that part. I guess, last question on your, go ahead and bring that up. We kind of, let me just say this much. I don't believe that we should put Bellinger into the minors. He's MVP. His swing is different. Let's just face it. We got to face it. We had to face a lot of things with Kenley and the ways that we had to ride the up and down wave. We might have to do that with Craig Kimbrell. You got to deal with it with Cody, especially when his defense is like that. How many fucking players have great defense and they can't hit a lick and they're still playing in this league right now? Give this MVP the benefit of the doubt and let him work through his struggles, because when he's on, he's fucking on.
He's been struggling for 2
right?
fucking years.
Stop it. Stop it.
Stop it, motherfucker. Look at the numbers.
Oh, my. All right.
I'm not saying
I'm not putting him in the minors, though. Let him work out his shit in the big leagues.
I'm not saying to send him down. I'm just saying this guy's been fucking stinking it up for 2 fucking years.
Answer your own question, though. Are you bringing Bauer back?
No.
I think that's a good enough answer.
Yes.
Oh!
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
You're wild.
I am. Yeah, here's the deal, man. Like, I'm not going to idolize a sports star the way that people idolize them. Like, he was at fucking Driveline the other day on his social medias on a video, and Brewstar's hanging out with him. Trianon's hanging out with them. You're acting like the players fucking hate him, and I think they just didn't want the distraction. But when the facts came to light that it was consensual, that she worked for the Padres, that it could have been a ploy for money, that he's now trying to subpoena her phone records, and she's saying, "Well, hold on, I don't gotta give." Well, like, come on, man. He's asking for his innocence to be further proven, and now she's withholding phone records. That doesn't look a little sus to you? I'm not saying what he did was okay. I'm not saying what he did wasn't okay. Right? Or however, my opinion is if he's not going to get arrested, and he can go out there and win games, isn't that kind of all that matters? His contract says go play great baseball, not go play great baseball and don't fuck chicks that you like. Don't do this or that.
I would say yes. After I didn't know that he was hanging out with the teammates, whatever.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think that he can rub somebody the wrong way pretty easily, and I just don't want
dude.
I don't want our locker room to get any type of pesticide in there. We don't need no fucking.
All right, let me ask you a question. He's a clown, right? He's a guy whose opinions apparently you don't vibe with, right? And that's fine. But if this guy can go out there and help the team win games and put up a sub-3 ERA and give you 220 innings, you gonna turn that down?
Hey, like I just said, in sports, and it shows time and time again that talent reigns supreme. For me, again, I am more on the. I never said anything about him and what his wrongdoings are. That's for everybody else. That's not for me to judge. My whole thing is he gonna disrupt my locker room. That's been my whole point this whole time. You're saying that he's hanging out with the players. They accept him. If they accept him, I accept him.
All right.
Let's just say that much.
I agree with you.
Real quick, make it quick. what are your expectations about Freddie Freeman this year?
I expect him to have 110 RBIs, 35 homers, be about 280 or better, and anchor that offense and hold that 4 spot all year long.
He's batting pi, baby. 314, 120 plus RBIs, with an OPS of over a 900.
That's high.
He's a baddie.
That's really high.
He's a baddie. But
that's really
let's
high, dude.
wrap it up. Episode 2 of the MLB edition of the Sports U podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We definitely have Champ and Dress. I'd love to give you one more round of applause. Thank you for joining us. We're running about an hour and 15 minutes here, and just want to thank you for giving me your time. Hopefully the audience learned something from our pod today. And stay tuned.
Kind of a piece of shit the
more
Oakland
to come.
Athletics is.
What was that?
They probably learned what a piece of shit organization the Oakland Athletics run.
Yeah.
Fucking America's sweetheart Brad Pitt playing Billy Bean. Yeah, he ain't so fucking sweet no more. Those cheap motherfuckers.
Hey, they got to deal with it, right? And
yeah, it ain't me.
let's see if these Yankees can prove me wrong. I think they're the biggest losers in the offseason, but again, they have a lot of talent on that team still. But a lot of things that were said this year. I see this episode. A lot of predictions. Tune into the next one. We'll definitely do this a weekly thing. We love to do it for you guys. Thank you for joining in once again. Shout out the like button. Bust down those comments. Subscribe to our channel. And always remember to support the U.